Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'll make this quick. 30 nuggets that you missed this week that are very, very important. And thank you all for coming. I took your time already once today, but this will be hopefully quick. And a lot of very interesting stuff going on behind the scenes. I'm waiting for this thing to play. Google has been very laggy today. And a quick reminder, by the way, if an ad plays mid-roll every 10 minutes for 5 seconds, it's probably a scam. I was on the phone with Google this week complaining for the 300th time, and nothing happens. Anyway, it's not even playing. There's a big problem right now. I don't know. Everything is broken this weekend. There it is. I think it's working now. Okay, let's go. I want to make sure I wasn't talking to myself. Ready? And none of this is financial advice. Thank you to everybody on Patreon. And let's look at the week in crypto. It's been kind of weird. But Ethereum had a good week, up 6%. Matic as well. Matic, after a very disappointing year, will break down all the winners and losers year to date as well. Solana down 1%, XRP down a little bit too. And if you are interested, I'm going to do an update of all the zombie coins with our models and see how they stand. And the reason I do this is not for myself, but it's for you. I have no agenda and I take no sides, but my job is to try and help people stay away from zombie coins. This is the week in crypto over US dollars. Bitcoin down 1% on the nose. It's just been flat the last 2 weeks with violent oscillations in between. And the key thing is, people say, but Bitcoin pumps at the weekend. Yeah, and then it goes down during the week. And then it pumps again on the weekend and goes down during the week. But that being said, we're still up from over 2 weeks ago, so not too bad. Let's look at where we are in the Bitcoin cycle. You can see down the little bottom box in black, we are here. Now, all the other cycles went up pretty much from this moment on or within plus or minus 2 to 4 weeks. The only difference is back in the last cycle, we had C19 hit in March 2020. And that caused a bit of that dip as well. So you can ignore that cycle in a big way. Anyway, the point is we are still very early. Thank you for coming, Linda. Now, Bitcoin fees are still mooning. This is a 7-day average from the block. And you can see we are way higher than ever before in history. Average transaction fees. They look like they're about to turn around because the ruins hype has come back down to earth. But that being said, miners made a lot of money. By the way, in the first 7 days since the halving, we are now 7 days into Epoch 5. I thought exactly a week. A week goes fast. Now, proof it's also good for miners. You can see here the revenue fees, Bitcoin on 30-day, up 209%. And the revenue fees in dollar terms, up 207%. So the miners are totally making bank despite the hash rate going to the moon as well. We haven't seen the hash come back down, which normally is what happens after the halving because people unplug their rigs. But because they're making so much money with fees, they're keeping them plugged in for now. That will change though, however. Dr. Sauce as well, thank you for coming. Now the other big news, in case you missed it, Swiss National Bank are pondering adding Bitcoin. And they are kind of fighting it because they believe whatever they allocate their assets to, by the way, they have assets and things like fiat, treasuries, gold, but they have to be liquid, they have to be sustainable, which means environmentally friendly, and we have to be able to buy and sell them. Now, there are some people in the country of Switzerland who are urging the Swiss National Bank to get a little piece of Bitcoin because Switzerland is very Bitcoin friendly, which is wonderful. And as a team, trying to get 100,000 signatures on a petition to urge the Swiss National Bank to add Bitcoin. Nick M., thank you for coming. If this happens, if we get a central bank adding Bitcoin to their treasury, that's it. Game over. It will eventually happen. We just don't know when. But we'll be ready with the champagne and the firecrackers and all that other good stuff when it does happen. Let's look at the layer 1, layer 2 action for the week. I'll summarize this. It's a bit of an eye chart. The data comes from Artemis. But in terms of TVL, the winners are Binance Smart Chain and Solana. In terms of stablecoin volume, the winners are Optimism and Solana. In terms of weekly commitments on the development side, winner are Cardano up 76%. Also, in weekly active developers, Cardano up 92%. I guess they must be trying to fix something. Anyway, by the way, P.S. I I'm coming out with that video next week regarding zombie coins. So we'll see who stars in that video. Also, daily active users, Solana up 4%, daily transactions, Solana up 73%, and the congestion is more or less fixed. That's why the chain is busier than before. And there's a lot of other stuff happening. The full TPS is back and stronger than ever before here from the chain chart here from Dune, which is super interesting. Now, speaking of zombies, I always talk about this. And these are patterns I've seen over many, many, many years. If you do not hit your all-time high in more than a certain number of days, like 2,000 days, the odds of you ever hitting again are very, very slight. This hit list, this is the distance from all-time high, and one of the key metrics that I like to look at, which gave birth to the ATR model, is this. You've got names like Bitcoin Cash, nearly 2,500 days away from hitting an all-time high. You have Tron, again, nearly 2,500 days. This is the last top of the previous to last bull market, by the way. Then you have XLM, XMR, and XRP. That's Stellar Lumens, Monero, and XRP. And if you are contemplating opening up a new coin, do not begin with the letter X. It's not a good omen. Now, let's look at the year-to-date gains, which is super interesting. These are some of all the top chains, and if you look at the left, the winner so far year-to-date, Bitcoin up 49%, despite the groans from the world. You know, it has gone up 150% in a very short window of time, but year-to-date, and we are only, 15 weeks in, still up 50%, which is stunning. Ethereum, 36%, not bad. Solana up 32%. Remember, Solana went on a 1,200%, 1,300% rampage in 2023, but it's still even up again in 2024. But then you look at all the other names, not good. XRP down 15%. You can read them yourself over time. Starting now, but the point is, and you can hit pause and check this out. But for us to be in a Bitcoin bull market and all of these top names negative over the last, 4 months is pretty startling. And that is not your typical bull market. But maybe this is the bull market where people are focusing on the right assets. As what happens in the world, the winner takes most. So we'll monitor this very carefully. Raj, who is one of the co-founders of Solana, came out yesterday and said, I haven't been this pumped since the depths of the COVID lockdowns when we launched Solana. And I'm not sure what is coming, but I'm seeing signs all over the place that something big is coming. I don't think it's Firedancer. I think it's way too early for that. They're looking to launch that at the end of this year, maybe in Breakpoint in Singapore in November. I'm not sure. But there's a lot of other good stuff happening on the chain. Now, first of all, this is a dashboard from Visa. And this dashboard shows you that the stablecoin transaction size on Solana is the highest amongst all other blockchains. And that's the big spike on the right. BSC is number 2. Polygon is number 3. But again, as I always say, and you're probably sick of me hearing it, winner takes most. That's it. There will never be 20 winners. There'll be one and then a fast follower. That gets maybe 20% of the market. And Stripe is coming back to crypto and coming back to stable coins. This is massive. They left the party in 2018 and now they are back. And they will be settling on-chain automatically, covering fiat. And they'll be doing most of it as well, like Visa, using Solana. Again, more black hole stuff. And if you're wondering who Stripe is, basically every website pretty much runs on Stripe. We're talking 3 to 4 million of them. And the amount of transactions daily are insane. Tens of millions of dollars of transactions, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars of transactions every day, and millions and millions of transactions. It is bonkers. It is still a private company, so we don't have access to all the data, but I can tell you the internet runs on Stripe. Now, speaking of other adoption stuff, Jupiter is also driving a lot of Solana adoption. And this from Gumshoe, who is a top analyst in the space. Him up. Jupiter is going to onboard tens of millions of users to Solana. This is already, as far as I'm concerned, the best DEX out there. and it's wonderful to work with. It was a bit congested about 2 weeks ago. That's all been fixed right now. And they're coming out with a new feature as well. This is breaking news from Solana Floor, and Jupiter introduces a tipping via GITO bundles. And this will help users on Solana hide their transactions from searchers looking for MEV opportunities and to minimize their losses to sandwich or other MEV attacks. And a quick summary of what that means is this is a feature. MEV is miner extractable value, where miners or validators profit by manipulating transactions order. So for example, if you have somebody coming in with a big transaction, they can delay it and front run it. And in a sandwich attack, a searcher places transactions before and after a user's trade, manipulating the market to their advantage. And this feature will help hide, of course, and make the whole blockchain and the transparency nature of the blockchain much fairer as well for those high frequency traders like me. Anyway, another $3 billion was just staked on Solana very recently. It is massive amounts of staking happening. Part of this could be from the FTX auction, and places like Pantera and Galaxy are staking very heavily because they are holding for 4 years. And another news too, there's still a lot of money moving over to the Solana network. Again, from Solana Floor, $1.41 billion has been bridged from other chains, including Ethereum, since the beginning of the year. So it has been a very, very active year so far, even though, as I showed, many of the names are not performing, and that's because of the black hole theory. You should not be surprised. And Metamask is now porting over to Solana as well. And their campaign has paid off. They've onboarded 500,000 Metamask users through Solflare on Solana. I still have a MetaMask account, but I have not opened it since 2021 because it's too painful to use the Ethereum network. I just couldn't be bothered. I need to go in there because there's probably some stuff on it. Anyway, back to business. There was a lot of exciting news as well this week, and I got pinged 1,000 times by people on the internet. When are you going to talk about Hedera? When are you going to talk about Hedera? Well, here we are. I'll talk about it now. They added 89 users yesterday. These guys added 500,000 in a couple of days. Now, why do people want to talk about Hedera? Well, it did have a big pump during the week. It popped and then it crashed. Straight up, straight down. And the question is, why? What's going on? Well, shout out to Gnarly Quinn, who kind of summed it up best. The HBAR Foundation deleted its original fake tweet about partnering with BlackRock. Reclarified basically as well. You can read this for yourselves, but the point is, the reason I share this story, everybody, when things spike based on a tweet, do your homework. Don't FOMO in, because odds are it's probably fake. Okay, so that's the big message here. Things do not change in a second, and a tweet does not influence something when it's most probably false anyway. So just be careful out there, team. Now, Magnificent 7, a little bit of stock news. Its new record, the Mag 7 weighting in the S&B 500 is now almost 30%, which is crazy. Again, this also supports my winner take most theory that I've watched my entire life, and that's just how the universe operates. Real simple. Now, there was a huge earnings week. We have MicroStrategy earnings next week too, which could be very surprising, depending on accounting rules. But this is interesting. The Big Four came in. Microsoft announced a $1.1 billion partnership with Coca-Cola. I had no idea why. But anyway, and they're also talking about some new AI capabilities with Azure. Google jumped 10% because its AI-driven services are now beginning to challenge Microsoft's dominance for the first time ever, and some advances in YouTube search and other things too. And in contrast, Tesla emphasized its commitment to autonomous vehicles and AI during its earnings call, as well as cheaper vehicles, $25,000 car, Model 2, and they're all in on self-driving technology. And believe me, as an FSD user, I went out to dinner last night and I came back. I did not drive. Okay, and there were passengers in the car too. It is flawless. Okay, and by the way, I'm on 12.3.4. 12.3.5 is already out in the wild, which is already supposed to be a step change from the version I'm on. So I can't. And then 0.6 is coming, and the team at Tesla have already seen how good it is. So it's crazy. It is really crazy. And other good news for Tesla investors, FSD is going global. FSD has launched an enhanced autopilot subscription in China, $100 a month. And per Sawyer Merritt here, they are demoing their FSD technologies to the Swedish Transportation Administration in Germany. Maybe they're doing it in Germany, but it doesn't make sense to demo it to the Swedish administration in Germany. But maybe that's what they're doing out of Giga Berlin. I'm not sure. Thank you, The Great Escape. But either way, FSD, they have all the data. They have all the compute. Now they're teaching it through neural nets to learn by itself. Learn Swedish roads, German roads, Chinese roads. It's crazy. And remember, each car, we're seeing a transformation that people still don't get of a car company turning into a SaaS revenue company with a fleet of nearly 7 million cars out there. 7 million with the opportunity to turn on $100 a month. And you can do the math. And that's pure margin. Of course, there's some upkeep. They had to pay billions for all the H100s. But here they are. Pretty interesting. And yesterday, I think there's a picture from Joe Tegmeyer. This view alone has $37 million worth of Cybertrucks in this photo that were made in 2 days. They've really ramped the Cybertruck production. I know a lot of people don't like Elon, they don't like Tesla, they don't like EVs, and they definitely don't like Cybertrucks. But riddle me, why is there a 7-year waiting list for this puppy? And why does every celebrity on Earth have one? I don't know. Madness. Speaking of Elon Musk, XAI is about to close a $6 billion round from Sequoia and others. Sequoia is a top Silicon Valley VC firm, and that's a lot of money. And Elon Musk has a plan for XAI. Now, LLMs have come a long way in a year and a bit, and they're going to go a lot way further over the next year or two. So buckle in, everybody. AI is coming. Fit, fast, and furious. Now, another little bit of macro news. Core PCE is heading in the wrong direction. This is the 3-month annualized change in core PCE inflations, up to 4.4% in March. And that is ugly. And everybody says, but I thought the Fed had inflation under control. No, they do not control the price of oil. Oil still hovering now, up from $85 to $90. And that's scary. And oil drives 40% of PCE and CPI. And that's just a fact. Now, another sad news too. U.S. fertility rates are tanking, basically falling off a cliff. This is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the lowest ever measure of fertility since they started recording in 1930 or something. Now, the crazy stats here, the fertility rate fell to 1.62 births per woman in 2023. Yeah, it is the lowest since the 1930s, nearly 100 years. And it's been on a steady decline since 2.12 births per woman in 2007. And then the financial crisis happened. And then, well, you can see from the chart, the impact, actually, the financial crisis, people had more babies after the financial crisis. Not sure why. Anyway, that's how it is. But the issue is U.S. deaths increased to 3.09 million from 2.42 million. So more people are dying, and the so-called replacement rate is 2.1, but we're not replacing humans fast enough. So there is a demographic crisis coming to the United States, like Japan, like Italy, like Spain, like most other places in the world, which is kind of sad. And history is being made, which is unusual. Never before in U.S. history has a president had a lower unemployment rate and a lower approval rating. So either the polls are dead wrong or all the cheerful economic data is fabricated. I think the latter. And I've spoken about the job. I've made videos about jobs reports and how fake they all are, and all the GDP information is all because of government growth. We are in a bit of a problem, ladies and gentlemen. So we don't know what's going to happen. And in that, let's end with a bit of logic. Shout out to my son who sent this to me. The difference between humans and animals. Animals would never allow the dumbest of the herd to lead them. So you can interpret that as you will, but it's important to prepare yourself. Future is going to be something you need to prepare for. That's all I'll say. A lot of change is coming. We're going to see transformations like we've never seen before. And if you're here, you're in Bitcoin and crypto, and that will at least help. As long as, of course, you're in the right assets too. Maybe a bit of Tesla as well. Thank you all. Hit the like and subscribe if you want. I now go work on the Q&A for tomorrow, which includes how to prepare for in the event things get really bad. And we're already seeing signs in places like the UK and Australia, and even Mert today got denied moving money from his bank to his crypto brokerage. They said, no, you've already transferred too much this year. And he hasn't even transferred a lot. So they're putting a lid on what you can do with your own money. And how do you protect yourself from that? That's what we'll answer tomorrow. Thank you all for coming. And I don't mean to alarm anybody, but these are just the facts. And it's better, well, what's the old expression? Better to be prepared for the worst and expect the best, or something like that. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Take care, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.